Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Russ.
And I'm Jeanelle Slade. Cold and snow adding up outside our windows, and it's not done yet.
More than half a foot of snow falling in areas surrounding Billings and even more just beyond Yellowstone County borders, making every kind of travel more difficult.
Well, it's already been one of the coldest Februaries on record, and the winter weather just keeps coming.
Q2's Samantha Sullivan has more on some of the issues people were fighting today.
Another round of winter weather making a Monday even more miserable. Inches of new snow, below freezing temperatures, and a frigid wind chill made for poor travel conditions all around Billings. Multiple school closures and delays were announced due to the weather, and everyone else just fighting to get wherever they needed to go. To make matters worse, a power outage in the Heights left nearly 2,000 customers without power this morning, including some Heights area schools. School District 2 actually postponing the start of school for students in the Heights, but the power was restored around 7:30 and school was able to start on time. Meanwhile, a water main break left some without water this morning. The water was actually turned off for those in the area of 17th Street and Avenue B late last night. Crews were working into the afternoon on repairs. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like there's any end in sight. More winter storms are on their way. In Billings, Samantha Sullivan, MTN News.
Thanks,
all right.
Sammy.
Turning to Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire. Bob, that was all just this morning, and things really haven't improved much since then, have they?
Well, it's like Mother Nature or let's say Old Man Winter jumped in on us with both feet this time. Let me show you what's happened. This was our morning low temperature in the Billings area, 7 degrees below zero. You saw 21 below zero over Cut Bank, and everybody east of the divide was below zero. Now take a look. This is our current temperature. We're still 6 below zero in Billings. We're into everyone else also below zero across eastern Montana. Check out our wind chill factor in Billings right now. It's 26 below zero right now. See 26 below zero over Great Falls. It's 30 below zero at Livingston. Feels like 32 below zero over at Havre right now. But here's the good news. Our reported high temperatures for the rest of this week expected to get above zero, 22 degrees on Thursday, back down to about maybe 1 or 2 degrees on Saturday and Sunday. Right now, the Doppler radar shows you scattered snow showers lingering around the Billings area, so we'll continue to see the snow off and on for a while. In the meantime, it's time to check around the rest of the state with some of my colleagues and see how things are shaping up out there.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz here in Helena, where we are in the middle of the biggest storm of winter. 6 to 12 inches of snow already, temperatures below zero. Wind chills on the mountain passes have been as cold as 45 degrees below zero. You're talking frostbite in minutes in conditions like that. Please, if you do choose to travel here the rest of this afternoon and this evening, please put your headlights on. Visibility has been very, very tough, and the lights will help you see other people, but also other people see you. Stay safe.
I'm meteorologist Aaron Yost here in Missoula. Now, northwest Montana largely missing out on this system, but that's a very different story here in west central and southwest Montana, where we've had snowfall rates of about 1 to 2 inches per hour issued. And it's not that heavy, dense stuff. It's this extremely light, fluffy stuff, which really is not a good thing. Now that we're starting to see the wind pick up, we have blizzard warnings out for the Missoula and Bitterroot valleys right through 9 p.m. tonight for blowing and drifting snow and greatly reduced visibilities.
Snow has been falling steadily through the day today, and it's not going to be letting up anytime soon. We're expecting several more inches through the night tonight.
I'm meteorologist Mike Hurd in Bozeman. Take a look at our snow total so far, and it's still snowing in many areas, but most of our valleys are coming in around 10 to 15 inches both west and east of the Continental Divide, and we're expecting more snow in this region over the next 24, 48, maybe even into 72 hours. Another big dumping is possible.
Snow's also piling up in residential areas across Billings after this 4th snowstorm of the season, which means plow crews will start Tuesday's residential plowing in Zone 4. Now, that's the south side of Billings.
The city will be watching the conditions, but anticipates First Mark will begin plowing in Area 4, scheduled at 8 a.m. From there, they will work on Zone 3, then 2, then 1, then back at the 6th zone.
Now, to see which zone you live in and to get updates, you can visit the Billings Public Works Facebook page.
Major levy being voted on right now for School District 2 during tonight's school board meeting. Billings School District 2 Superintendent Greg Upham is recommending that the trustees run a high school operational levy in May's election. High schools have not had a levy passed since 2007. If that levy is approved, the owners of homes worth $200,000 would see about a $10 increase in property taxes over the year. If trustees approve the plan, voters would decide on that levy in an all-male election, likely in May. Upham says this will allow the district to keep pace with other high schools in our neighboring cities. The money will also be used toward workplace coordinators in high schools.
Montana lawmakers are almost half done with the 2019 legislative session. In fact, today they kicked off the last week of the season's first half. It's also known as Transmittal Week. As MTN's Mike Dennison reports, it's a frenetic week with long hours, short hearings, a big deadline, and lots of bills.
The 2019 legislature hits its halfway mark on Saturday, and if a general bill doesn't make it out of its original house by that day, the transmittal deadline, it's pretty much dead. With that deadline looming, scores of bills and their sponsors are making a last-minute push to survive. Even a sub-zero snowstorm didn't keep citizens away Monday, which began with packed committee hearings and long agendas. The 62 bills heard in committee Monday included one to allow legislators to carry concealed weapons in the Capitol. Sponsor Roger Webb of Billings said the lack of security at the Capitol means lawmakers should have the option of protecting themselves with a gun.
It's not a matter of when. Because it's going to happen. We are the softest target this time of year in the state. People walk in this facility every day with a firearm.
The House Business and Labor Committee heard emotional testimony on a bill to increase the minimum required coverage levels for car insurance in Montana. Edward Morris of Bozeman, struck by a car in 2017 while he rode his bike, later discovered the driver had only the legal $25,000 minimum of coverage for Morris's injuries.
I was rushed to the hospital. My life was hanging by a thread. I was rushed into surgery. After I was getting released from the hospital, I received this punch in the gut from the financial people at the hospital that my bill was close to $160,000.
Insurance industry lobbyists lined up against it, saying it would raise premiums on car insurance and lead to more uninsured drivers. The House Judiciary Committee also heard a half dozen bills Monday, including 3 to limit required vaccinations. Most of these bills have until Wednesday to clear a committee, after which the House and Senate go to all-day floor sessions to handle the crunch of bills trying to make Saturday's deadline.
We always want to make sure every bill has a fair hearing and adequate time. However, when we're up against a deadline, sometimes time limits are basically constrained by what's in the committee at that time.
Some of these bills will make it. Some of them won't. And if they do, they still have the next House to navigate. Let's just say by Saturday, there will be a lot fewer bills alive than there are today. Reporting from the Capitol, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
All right, thanks so much, Mike. Now, lawmakers break for almost 5 days after reaching Saturday's midway point before they return to start the last half of the session.
A Montana Navy SEAL and Purple Heart recipient is thanking the Florida residents who came to his aid after a plane he was in crashed into a Florida home. Tim Shee was in the aircraft as a student pilot and survived the crash with minor injuries. Unfortunately, the flight instructor who was with him was killed when that small plane lost power and plummeted into the home. Everyone in the home survived the crash. A 17-year-old girl was in the bedroom in which that plane crashed and was pinned and trapped until emergency crews arrived. And in an email to statewide radio host Aaron Flint, she praised the neighbors of that home, saying, quote, "The neighborhood folks deserve credit for their selfless acts of bravery immediately after the crash. With a fire imminent, they were courageous in their acts. It was a rough day, but could have been much worse. I'm just thankful there weren't more people in that home."
Well, teenage drivers make up about 10% of all traffic fatalities on Montana roadways. Now, that data from the Montana Department of Transportation.
MTN's Emma Hamilton went to Three Forks High School today, where students are hoping to change that statistic.
These silhouettes here along the fence at Three Forks High School are much more than just a decoration. They represent the teenage lives lost on Montana roadways last year. The student-led group, Family, Careers, and Community Leaders of America, received a grant from the Montana Department of Transportation in October to facilitate a traffic safety project.
We have one of the highest fatality rates for teens in the U.S., so it's not a position Montana wants to be in. So that's why it's Make a Change Montana. It's just to help educate kids to make positive decisions. I mean, you can legislate, you can make seatbelt laws, you can do all kinds of things, but until you change their way of thinking, nothing's going to change.
From the silhouettes to the bulletin boards and locker magnets, these students are aiming to make a difference in the community and educate their peers about the dangers of distracted driving.
It's impacted my sister when she drives. She's always on her phone, so when I'm in the car with her, I yell at her and tell her to get off her phone.
And this isn't something new for Three Forks students.
We've worked on teen traffic safety since 2004. We lost seniors in the spring, or in the fall of 2004. We lost 3 seniors, and then their classmates started working on teen traffic safety. We've been very lucky, but schools around us have lost students in the last couple of years.
Just being on your phone or not putting your seatbelt on can harm you or even kill you.
Just like to make teens more aware of how scary driving can be.
In Three Forks, Emma Hamilton, MTN News.
Those students are heading to the state capitol tomorrow to present their projects.
Quite the images. Up next on tonight's 5:30 News, from shelter to service. Find out how a rescued pup is now learning to help others in their time of need.
And in sports, Scott introduces us to this Special Olympian ready to dominate today's Winter Games in Big Sky.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.